All right, welcome to some more readings in Theological German. Let's just jump right to it. We're going to be taking a break from this article soon, but there's just a few sentences left. Let's see how many we get through today. So we've been in this article here by Stein on the interpretation of Exodus 19:6, and we've been working our way through some points he's making about the different kinds of genitives. And so today we're going to work on this last paragraph of this little section here. The grammar leaves these various interpretations to. This should be our new strategy. Let's just woodenly render each word in the same order in English and just see what it says. Well, I got a little confused there. You know, it's actually not a bad strategy because sometimes you can kind of see what's going on and then you just kind of get a sense of what the sentence is saying and then you can kind of work out what a better translation would be afterwards. In this case, though, what you immediately notice is like this dangling zu over here, and that should tell you, aha, I think I probably have a separable verb. And this here, lassen, which is in the conjugated position, probably needs that zu to go with it in order to mean whatever it is that it's supposed to mean. And so you look up in your dictionary zulassen, and you see that it means to permit or allow, and then you say, aha, yes, I can translate this now. The grammar permits or allows these various interpretations, and it's referring, of course, to all these things up here and on the previous page, all the different interpretations of the phrase kingdom of priests. They're all permitted, they're all allowed by the grammar. Okay, so what? So the grammar allows for all of these things. We have to make a decision about what the right one is. And so you can kind of see that I'm trying to anticipate the context of this initial statement, and it's going to help us to see that this is exactly what Steins is addressing, because the next thing he says here is a decision or judgment for the most likely interpretations. In other words, which of these different sort of interpretations is the one that we should have? For the most likely interpretation, falls not on this level or plane. Ebene could mean plane or level, something like that. This is kind of tricky because this word here, fall, to fall, and that is really all the word means in German, but just like in English, the word fall can get used in all kinds of kind of metaphorical extensions. And we even use the word fall in English when we're talking about decisions, right? The decision fell to me to decide what to do. Or we might talk about decisions falling in the sense of what the outcome of the decision was, or in terms of what decisions depend on, right? So the decision falls on the personality of the boss. So it's like somehow what the outcome is going to depend on his personality. So there's all kinds of sort of nuance as to how fall might be, working with decision as its subject. And so you sort of have to try to work it out. Here it basically is saying that the decision isn't decided. In other words, the verb here is kind of, talking about the execution level of a decision. And it's saying here that the judgment or the decision isn't made. It's not decided on the level of grammar. I think, it's been such a long time since I've made these videos. It might be helpful for many people if I just do some real basic review about German. I was commenting earlier on, just sticking with the word order that's there and translating it to English, and we saw how that doesn't always work with separable verbs and things like that. But it's just like, let me just remind you that verbs always show up in what's called second position. So here you have the verb zu lassen, and it shows up in second position. The reason why that's second is not that it's the second word, it's just that it's the second kind of grammatical element. So the first grammatical element is going to be a noun phrase of some kind. Here it's the subject. Often it's the subject, but it doesn't have to be the subject. Sometimes it can be a relative clause or some other modifying phrase. But typically there'll be something up front there, and then the verb will be the second kind of element, unless you're in a subordinate clause, which we saw in the last episode, where a subordinate clause, the verb will go to the end. It won't be the second element, it will be the last element, okay? So I call that often conjugated position, because that's where the verb shows up when it's the conjugated verb. Anyway, so you can see there the verb is in second position, and then the object and so forth follows. Here you have, again, here in first position, a decision. Okay, so that's the kind of subject, but then the subject gets modified, a decision for the most likely interpretation. And so that whole thing is kind of the subject, because the subject is just modified. So you have that whole entire thing as your big noun phrase that's in first position, and then again, your verb is once again in second position, which is why in German, and I might add in King James English, the negatives, when you're negating a verb, it always comes after the verb, and it's because the word order is quite strict. The verb needs to be the second constituent element, and so then the negator comes immediately after, as do other adverbs and other ways of modifying verbs. They'll all come immediately after the verb. And so, yeah, I just wanted to kind of review some of that basic word order stuff in these sentences because it's quite simple here, and you'll see in other sentences how it gets more complicated with relative clauses and, you know, big, long, complicated nouns that are modified in various ways in different positions and so forth. But I hope you found that, that real basic review helpful. Once again, thank you for watching, and I do hope that you found the whole video helpful. Please do like and subscribe and do all the things that will tell YouTube that my videos are worth showing to people, because I do want to make sure that they are benefiting anyone that needs to benefit from them. I'm not trying to go viral. I don't think I could if I wanted to, but I just want to make sure they're getting out there for people when they're searching for help on their German and things like that. So like, subscribe, share, comment. Comments are always good. I love hearing from people watching these videos, especially if you watch all the way to the end and hear these comments of mine. Then make comments of your own. Wonderful. Have a good week.